Theodore Roosevelt, 26th President of the United States, was a key figure of the Progressive Era. Political and social reform, he is known for such things as the Square Deal, his child labor policy, and his conservation of the natural environment.
Teddy, as he was known to the American public, was always a fair and honest man, often putting emphasis on weeding out corruption and evil in society and business. The Square Deal was a series of acts Teddy put in place during his presidency. One of the goals of the Square Deal was to get rid of bad monopolies, an example being the railroad industry at the time. One of the ways he combated this was Teddy kept businesses and trade unions apart. 2 acts were put in place to help with railroad regulation and control. The Elkins Act allowed Commerce to put heavy fines on railroad companies that offered rebates, and the Hepburn Act, which allowed Commerce to put across-the-board maximum railroad rates. Some of the other acts put in place were the Sherman Antitrust Act, put in place to crack down on said monopolies, and the Pure Food and Drug Act, along with the Federal Meat Inspection Act. These were made to raise the standard of food and drugs and to do away with misproper labeling. It's also good to note that Roosevelt stopped using military action to deal with public protests in an effort to create a more peaceful society.
As well as Theodore's passion for progressivism, he also harbored a passion for nature. Roosevelt gained an appreciation for nature as a young boy, often playing on his parents' property out in the woods. At age 7, Teddy saw a dead seal at a local market. Teddy and 2 of his cousins got the seal's head and formed what they called the Roosevelt Museum of Natural History. Teddy learned the basics of taxidermy, and they filled their museum with animals they had captured or killed. Next, they would study them and put them up for display. By age 9, Teddy had incorporated all of his studies of insects into a paper titled The Natural History of Insects. In his late 20s, Teddy was a cowboy in North Dakota. He later wrote 3 books on his frontier life. To keep up with the Industrial Revolution around the turn of the century, Teddy put nature conservation high on his list of priorities as a president. Theodore Roosevelt was considered to be one of the nation's first conservational presidents. He preserved some of the most unique natural resources of the United States. For example, Roosevelt created 150 national forests, 51 federal bird reservations, 4 national game preserves, 5 national parks, and 18 national monuments, just to name a few. Some of the notable examples are the Tahoe National Forest, Monterey National Forest, and the Crater Lake National Park. Also, President Roosevelt fought to make the Grand Canyon a national park, and it was unsuccessful. However, in 1908, he did declare it a national monument, and that same year, it was established as the National Game Preserve, and it later became a national park in 1919.
Seeing as labor was sketchy around the turn of the century, Theodore did several things for child labor. He created the Office of Factory Inspector, restricted child labor in factories and workshops, regulated hours of minors and women, safeguarded the limbs and lives of factory operatives, and established the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
After Teddy's time in office, William Howard Taft won the presidency for the Republican Party. Once Taft's first term came to an end, Teddy was unhappy with his performance in office. Thus, he put his name up for the Republican Party's nominee. The Republican Party chose Taft over Roosevelt, and this upset Roosevelt. Teddy went on to form the Progressive Party of 1912, which was nicknamed the Bull Moose Party. This is because Teddy stated that he was as fit as a bull moose when he was asked whether he was fit to be president. This ultimately split the Republican Party down the middle, and the Democratic candidate, Woodrow Wilson, ended up winning the election.
Roosevelt was a progressive thinker and always looked for what was best for the country. He was a key figure in the forming of America and greatly influenced our present-day society.